Hi guys, Joe McNamara from AML RightSource here. I wanted to take a moment to thank you for your continued support of the AML Conversations channel. We really could not have gotten to this place without you. As AML RightSource continues to grow, our content library does as well. I'm excited to announce a new AML RightSource podcast series, Frankly Speaking, hosted monthly by Creative Director Elliot Berman. Frankly Speaking, as you all may have guessed, focuses on our CEO, Frank Ewing, and the specific challenges and situations related to business, career development, and other topics that Frank personally navigates week in and out. These sessions go for about 15 minutes once a month, and we're excited to announce our first episode released in the first week of February. Please feel free to give it a listen and tell us what you think. We hope you like it and subscribe to it as well. A link to the podcast page as well as additional information will be included in today's episode notes. Don't worry, this isn't going to change anything we're doing on the AML Conversations or This Week in AML front. We just figured it was time to open the library to some new content. Thanks for listening to this shameless plug, and now back to your regularly scheduled episode.
Hey, John, how are you today?
I'm good, Elliot. And before we get started, I wanted to ask you, we've added to our AML Conversations channel a new, what will be a series of interviews that you are hosting called Frankly Speaking. And I was able to listen to the first one, was excellent. Can you tell us a little bit about that and sort of what's the rationale behind doing it?
Sure. Thanks for bringing that up. So I'm sitting monthly with our CEO, Frank Ewing, and we're going to talk about business-related topics. We talked about operating in these challenging times. In the first one, we're going to talk about career. How do you build your career, and other things in the business area as they come along. As you mentioned, it's called Frankly Speaking. You can find it on our website on the podcast section. You also can find it at SoundCloud and at iTunes podcasts. So we'd encourage you to sign up. Frank's a really smart guy. He's got some great insights, and he's fun to listen to. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Great. And let's just dive into it. You and I talked about this offline. Obviously, one of the things we've been covering in our weekly conversations has included the major change and potential changes to AML infrastructure included in the National Defense Authorization Act. And we both sort of took a look and saw something on social media that we thought was worth talking about. And that was an article by Spencer Woodman, who's part of ICIJ, which is the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, which has done they're well known for a lot of things, including Panama Papers and the FinCEN files. And he talked a bit about legislation and sort of both the potential impact and frankly, some of the things they thought should have been included.
Yeah, I saw that. I think one of the ones that caught my eye was just the new ownership registry that's in the act, and there was some concern expressed by the author of the article that it will not be a public registry, and which in the UK they have a similar registry and it is public. But I know you were involved in getting the act passed, at least in terms of some of the technical components. What did you think about that issue that he raised?
Yeah, he's right. The UK does have a public registry, as do some other countries. But I think you have to walk before you run. And I think the key here is there will be a registry. There will be access from federal law enforcement, state and local, although you have to go to court for that. So there are some hurdles, and also for the financial sector that our former industry is going to have access when they're going to need it. And we recognize that the rationale for this registry is because even with the CDD rule of a couple of years ago, there's still a gap in information that's critical to figuring out beneficial ownership. So I think we should be more sort of clapping from the sidelines. And it's not that they are not, but they expect that there'll be further debate on this going forward. And I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's right. Another point that they made is they noted that in the act that art dealers don't have a suspicious transaction reporting obligation. And I know this is a topic that you know a great deal about and we're a big champion of. It feels like the view is sort of, again, they're talking about the glass being half empty, but there was a really important component that did get in. And art dealers weren't left entirely behind, as I recall. Give us your insights on that, John.
Yeah, that's right. So obviously, those that sell and purchase antiquities will be covered under the Bank Secrecy Act. That's a big win for the AML infrastructure, because clearly that's a space in which some of those products were used to move illicit funds. And that also is the case in the art world. Now, part of what I recall the rationale for them not being included right now, although there is a study I'll mention in a second, is because there was quite a bit of a debate with the House and Senate staff and others regarding definitions. So, I think a fair point. They were trying to do a lot at the same time, but they're not completely left off the list. So there's going to be a study with a strategy connected to it. And so at the end of that period of time, if the study shows that art is a way to move illicit funds, they're going to be covered. And I cannot imagine under any scenario where that study won't show that. So if they consult with all the proper stakeholders, the law enforcement, the regulatory community, and obviously those in the private sector, they're going to find clear examples of this. So I wouldn't say a free pass for now. They're being watched. There'll be a study. Watch that study closely. And I think at the end of that process, art dealers will be in the same bucket as antiquities dealers. And that's only going to be a good thing for the AML regime.
Yeah, I agree with you. This study did not feel like some of the studies, which are kind of the kick it down the road, we really don't want to talk about it. This really did seem to be a prove you shouldn't be. And if you can't, then the strategy will be, let's go forward and get you into, under the umbrella of a regime. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Well, that good talk. And thanks for the chance to plug the new podcast. And I'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Take care, Elliot. Stay safe.
You too. Bye-bye.